members that are traveling away from the main fire and they have a receptive fuel bed to land in, that can be an issue.
Hot, dry, and windy conditions fueling a number of large wildfires across the West. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Hundreds of firefighters are on the front lines tonight, facing some very challenging conditions. There are wildfires burning across California and in Arizona and Utah. We begin tonight north of San Francisco. That's where the Point Fire is prompting evacuations in Sonoma County. CAL FIRE says this fire has burned close to 1,200 acres since it started yesterday, and it's destroyed 2 homes. Helicopters and air tankers from across the state are being used in this effort, and the fire is 20% contained tonight. One firefighter has been hospitalized after being injured, but they are expected to be okay. KTVU's Henry Lee joins us live tonight near Healdsburg with the latest on the evacuations. Henry?
Yeah, we're on a hillside overlooking Dry Creek Valley, and again, there are plenty of helicopters still making active drops as we speak. Very clear that this air attack will go into the night.
So it was very stressful. I call it fire stomach. You get a knot in the middle of your stomach.
Mary Louise Booker is watching and waiting. She and her husband have a front row seat as fire crews try to tame the Point Fire across the valley from their business, Shatori Farms, a boutique winery and olive oil company.
Our livelihood is here. It's nerve-wracking, it's frightening, but at the same time, we can definitely tell that the Sonoma County first responders are just amazing.
Like many who live in Dry Creek Valley, a designated wine region, residents have been accustomed to fire weather for years.
Shocked and really saddened that it started this early. We're used to fire season, and we've gone through 4 of these.
I'm pretty confident that if the wind doesn't come up, I think they're going to get it under control.
Candace Summer says the allure of the area is belied by some pitfalls.
It must be beautiful, but there's only one way out, and they got to depend on CAL FIRE. CAL FIRE's been fabulous.
We have a window of better conditions that the crews are trying to get out there and get to as many of those hot spots as they can.
Captain Robert Foxworthy of CAL FIRE says a new tactic that they've used is attacking the fire from the air at night.
Historically, the nighttime is when the fire usually lays down a bit and we can gain some ground. And we did have those night flying aircraft over the fire last night.
So again, at last check, this Point Fire was only 20% contained, but as the temperature drops tonight, you can expect that again, that firefight from the air to continue in earnest. Live in Sonoma County, Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Yeah, and those choppers that can fly at night are so important. Henry, obviously people in that area up in wine country, they're used to fires like this, but the people that you are talking to, are they worried about a fire of this size so early on in the season and what this might mean moving forward?
Yeah, we are on the property, in fact, of a winery, and this couple has been watching very carefully. They've been through this many, many times over the years, and again, they did mention it is very concerning that we have this fire, which is hopscotch across the valley so early in the season.
All right, let's hope crews can get a handle on it here soon. Henry Lee live in Healdsburg, California for us tonight. Henry, thank you. A massive brush fire has forced hundreds of people from their homes in northern Los Angeles County. The Post Fire has burned more than 15,000 acres and is 20% contained tonight. This fire is burning right along Interstate 5 near the Grapevine. The flames engulfed part of a parking lot near the freeway and burned several vehicles, but I-5 itself remains open to traffic. About 1,200 people in the community of Gorman have been ordered to evacuate.
We got our trailer, we got our truck, we packed. We can be out of here in probably within an hour.
This fire started on Saturday, and it has now spread to parts of Ventura County as well. Crews are using an aggressive air attack to try to slow down the progress of the fire, but they are facing those challenging conditions we have talked about with limited visibility. In Arizona, crews spent the day putting out hot spots on a wildfire that prompted evacuation orders near a popular lake over this past weekend. The Riverside fire is burning near Bartlett Lake Recreation Area northeast of Scottsdale. Tonight, Fox 10's Ashley Rodriguez shows us why people near this fire are worried about a tough season ahead.
Bartlett Lake is empty Monday. The smell of charred brush wafts through the hot air. smoke, and it just looked like a bomb went off, to be honest with you.
A day after the Riverside fire ignited, you can no longer see smoke or flames, but the impact of shutting down the marina on Father's Day lingers.
The sheriff's got in the helicopter and got up and said, full evacuation, we got to get moving. So everybody took off.
It's the second summer holiday now. Business owners like Brad Kircher, owner of the Cove at Bartlett Lake, have had to shut down. The first being around Memorial Day, when the Wildcat fire burned over 14,000 acres. And each time they take the hit financially.
Most of these are human caused, and that's the problem. I mean, there's really no excuse for that.
Fire crews believe the Riverside fire was started by a legal campfire. The Wildcat fire sparked by target shooting. The Horse fire was human caused, and the Spring fire in the Mesa district was ignited by an off-road vehicle. The fear is these unintentional mistakes could balloon into big consequences as another dry monsoon season takes its grip on the region.
Like 2020, we were in fire restrictions until November. It's kind of shaping up to be one of those seasons. Just have to be so careful and so aware of what's happening around you.
And that was Fox 10's Ashley Rodriguez reporting tonight. Crews do expect to stay in the area of the Riverside fire for the next few days. They'll be working to secure the edges of that fire and reinforce the progress that's been made by those air resources. A wildfire that started as a prescribed burn in Utah has now grown to more than 2,200 acres. The Little Twist fire is burning near the town of Beaver, about 120 miles north of the Utah-Arizona state line. Fire officials say weather conditions pushed the flames beyond their prescribed burned area last week. They're expecting strong gusty winds will pose a challenge for firefighters throughout tonight. There is no containment on this fire so far. A smoke alert is in effect in Las Vegas tonight because of drifting wildfire smoke from California and Arizona. Here's a live look at conditions in the valley tonight, where the sky has been hazy all throughout the day. Clark County health officials are suggesting that children, the elderly, and anyone with respiratory diseases should stay indoors. For more, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking the conditions that are really posing a challenge for firefighters all across the West. Mark?
Hi there, Alex. Yeah, it has been a pretty busy fire week so far. And take a look at at least a couple of the fires that you mentioned up in Northern California. The Point Fire, you can see the current conditions out there. There's a bit of a breeze out of the northwest at about 16 miles an hour. The challenge up in Northern California has been the low moisture levels. The relative humidity values have been coming down. You can see right now at about 26%. And then closer into the post-fire in Southern California, of course, the bigger fire temperatures. One site showing 75 degrees, a bit of a breeze at about 15 miles an hour. These moisture levels will continue to come up. The relative humidity around 52%, so that's a good sign. Here's one of the forecast models that kind of puts everything together in terms of the relative humidity, the wind, and the brighter the colors are, at least you could see today some not the greatest conditions, but as you can see as we put this into motion, we should have improving conditions in general throughout the day on your Tuesday, but still some breezy conditions will make the firefight still somewhat of a challenge. Now here's a forecast model showing you the smoke, and as you can see, the progression could be down in Southern California here and also in portions of Arizona. So that's the plan, at least with the smoke forecast for tomorrow. Now we're still talking about some rain showers up in the Pacific Northwest, up in the Portland, Seattle area. This was the scene in Seattle. 61 degrees. I did see 0.04 in terms of measurable rainfall over the past 24 hours. In San Francisco, this is from the Oakland camera looking out towards San Francisco. Lots of clear skies, but of course a spare the air alert in place with some of that wildfire smoke drifting overhead, especially earlier this morning. And then down in Southern California, temperature is 74 degrees with a sun-cloud mix. This was the scene in LAX earlier today. Right now, temperatures, you can see 103 degrees in Phoenix, out toward Las Vegas, 99, 63 in Portland, and San Francisco checking in at 70 degrees. Here's the plan for tomorrow. We'll have some cloud cover tomorrow in the Seattle area, clearing into the afternoon hours. Partly sunny skies in Denver. Looks like a hot forecast once again in the Phoenix area. And Southern California, some patchy morning fog, but then some hazy skies, maybe still some wildfire smoke down in Southern California. Here's the forecast model in terms of rainfall. It does keep the shower chances into your Tuesday, primarily for the morning hours, and then scaling back on those chances throughout the day. Looks fairly dry from Eureka down toward the Bay Area, toward Los Angeles, and in the Phoenix area. So here is the breakdown over the next few days. As you can see here, looks like San Francisco is sun cloud cloud mix. Same for Seattle. Los Angeles will be tracking that smoke over the next several days. Still triple-digit heat in Phoenix. In fact, it could be warming up, as you can see, possibly by Thursday once again. So hot there, but still we'll keep an eye on the fire conditions, Alex, because it just takes a subtle change in the wind pattern to have a big impact on the wildfire behavior.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. Mark, thank you. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, a teenager says he is traumatized after getting stuck upside down on an amusement park ride in Oregon.
I don't usually look like this. These aren't freckles. They're bursted blood vessels in my face.
With visible injuries, days after his ordeal, he shares what he and fellow riders went through. Also, authorities say a Washington father opened fire on a rideshare driver who assaulted his daughter. We'll explain what led to the confrontation. In Washington, a rideshare driver appeared in court today facing charges of raping an intoxicated passenger. And authorities say the victim's father in this case shot that driver after catching him assaulting his daughter. Fox 13's A.J. Janavel has more tonight on this confrontation that ended with gunfire.
58-year-old Ahmed Ali, an Uber driver accused of a heinous crime.
Where they're asking that the court find probable cause for rape in the second degree and kidnapping in the first degree.
Probable cause documents I obtained say Ali picked up a woman from a bar who was too intoxicated to get home herself. The victim relying on Ali's service as a rideshare driver to get back safely. Instead, documents say Ali used his Uber app to make it seem like he dropped the victim off, then drove here to this secluded location outside of Olympia and raped the victim.
She is fearful if he is released, or expressed that she would be fearful if he is released.
The probable cause documents say the family of the victim got worried when the woman did not return home. The father, using his phone, tracked his daughter's location to the scene of the assault and found the victim naked in the back seat of Ali's car, with Ali scrambling back to the front seat, trying to pull his pants up.
There is a substantial danger that the defendant will commit a new violent crime, and this is based on the nature of these allegations.
Documents say the victim's family beat up Ali, and at least 2 shots were fired. Investigators say Ali tried to flee the scene, despite medics saying he needed help. In court, Ali still had bandages on his hands. Near the scene of the attack, I spoke to a dad who told me it's horrifying to hear what happened to someone else's daughter on Father's Day weekend.
You know, to me it's justice, and it should have never happened to begin with, right? That it's just disgusting, but I'm glad the dad was able to be there.
The suspect is a father himself of 5 children. The courtroom was packed with family and neighbors in support of Ali. Investigators say Ali's daughter actually reported her father missing to police on the day he's accused of raping someone else's child.
And that was Fox 13's A.J. Janavel reporting tonight. The suspect in this case is being held on $100,000 bond. In Aurora, Colorado, 11 people are recovering tonight after a car crash involving several vehicles. The crash happened yesterday along Parker Road near the Cherry Creek Reservoir. Police say the driver of one of those vehicles was speeding when he crashed into at least 4 other cars. 2 of the vehicles rolled over, and the speeding driver, along with his young passenger, were both severely injured. A man has been arrested in connection with a sideshow in the San Francisco Bay Area that led to spectators jumping on top of a police cruiser and smashing the windshield. The video has been widely shared online. KTVU's Jesse Gary has more tonight on the out-of-control scene that has left San Jose city leaders outraged.
Blocking an emergency response vehicle that's trying to respond to an injured individual is unconscionable. There's no excuse for that.
Matt Mahan took to the X platform to repost these pictures showing Aiden Rowe in handcuffs and the car he was apparently driving Saturday on the back of a flatbed truck. This after disturbing video posted to Instagram left city leaders in shock. Around 7 o'clock that evening, a sideshow blocks the intersection of Winchester Boulevard and Olin Avenue near the upscale Santana Row shopping center. 1 person was injured, and when a reserve police officer responded, his vehicle was surrounded and vandalized.
Seeing that here and was pretty disturbing, especially when all the people, all the men were jumping on the windshield. So there's no fear.
The officer stuck inside while the crowd outside jeers.
We've seen in this video age, everybody wants to get on social media doing all kinds of things. This is another way to get that kind of attention.
San Jose police also posted to social media with acting police chief Paul Joseph saying in part, Rowe has been booked into the main Santa Clara County Jail for felony hit and run and felony reckless driving. Last August, Mahan and others announcing collaboration with social media giants such as Facebook, Instagram, and the X platform to suspend user accounts of those who promote, participate, and post sideshow images. The mayor says that, coupled with a nearly complete license plate camera system and additional penalties and more officers, has reduced sideshows in this city 50%. Still,
we're not always going to be able to prevent or stop in the moment every crime, but you can bet that we're going to follow up and identify the responsible individuals.
Nearly 48 hours after the crimes, tire marks are still visible in the street. Experts say the lone officer, who suffered minor injuries, did all he could do given the chaotic conditions.
They're really not trained to tackle single-handedly a large group of people, even though we expect police officers to sort of show up and take charge.
The San Jose Police Officers Association released a statement Monday night that says an absolute shameful example of parental failure and a complete disregard for civilized behavior. The parents and lawbreakers should be absolutely embarrassed. San Jose Police say if you could help them identify anyone at the sideshow, to give them a call. In the South Bay Bureau, Jesse Gary, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
The U.S. Surgeon General says social media apps pose a serious threat to children and should carry warning labels. In a New York Times op-ed published today, Dr. Vivek Murthy said Congress should demand tech companies include warnings similar to the ones on cigarettes and alcohol. He says social media is a contributing factor in the mental health crisis among young people.
They are so addicted. The dopamine part of their brain, which is the seeking chemical, has been really taken over. These technology companies know what they're doing when they're getting people to be on these phones hours and hours at a time.
There is bipartisan support on Capitol Hill for more social media safeguards for children, but so far there hasn't been any movement on passing legislation. The Los Angeles Unified School District is set to consider a cell phone ban this week. Those behind the proposal say it would lead to improved learning, fewer distractions, and more meaningful interactions with peers and adults. The school board is scheduled to take the issue up tomorrow. If it's approved, LA schools would join a growing number of districts across the country that have prohibited phones on campus.
Use cell phone lockers. So when a kid enters the school, they just check their phone in a locker and they get it on the way out. Others use these pouches that some folks may be familiar with from comedy shows or concerts.
Now, critics of this proposal say students should be able to carry phones for safety and easier communication with parents. If the ban is approved, it would take effect in January of next year. We have an update tonight on that amusement park ride in Oregon that malfunctioned, leaving riders dangling upside down for about 30 minutes. Fox 12's Julia Lopez spoke with one of the riders who has visible injuries on his face and says he's traumatized.
I thought it would very well be the end of my life.
Hazen Haythorne had ridden Atmosphere at Portland's Oaks Park before and never felt unsafe. That's until Friday, when he says he took the ride for the last time.
And then it started going to the top, and then it came, and then I was like, oh, here's the part where it goes 360. And then it went 360. I was still spinning like this for a second, but it wasn't moving backwards. And I was like, oh, this is really weird. I'm sure it's just like a falter.
Hazen was one of 28 people that were stuck hanging upside down for a full half hour that afternoon.
A minute passed, and I was like, this might be more serious than I may have deduced.
The spinning stopped, but the waiting had just begun. It didn't take long for him and those around him to fear the worst.
I heard like screaming, crying, just pleas for help. It was like really discomforting.
Also discomforting, the hanging itself.
Gravity was pulling me down, but the seat was keeping me in, so everything was pressuring me against like the harness that was coming over me. So I can still feel soreness in my arms and my hips from that.
Like my heart was pounding and I'm like, it was really scary.
Lily Dixon watched in horror from below. She was supposed to get on with Hazen and their other friends, but got out of line at the last minute.
So my blood pressure is like abnormally low Yeah, so I'm like, if I would have gotten on that ride, like, I don't even know what would have happened. Like, that could have been, like, really serious for me.
They both felt relief when the ride was finally over. But then Hazen FaceTimed his parents and saw his face.
This was crazy. My face has never, I don't usually look like this. These aren't freckles. They're bursted blood vessels in my face.
He went to the ER and was told the marks will take a few weeks to fade. Lily says one of their other friends was taken to the hospital in an ambulance due to a medical condition. Hazen says he's more affected mentally than he thought he could be, and his days of rides and coasters are over.
I mean, if I close my eyes when I'm trying to go to sleep, I can feel upside down again.
They're all gonna faint, guys.
And that was Fox 12's Julia Lopez reporting tonight. It remains unclear exactly what caused that ride to malfunction. The attraction has been closed until further notice. Coming up tonight on West Coast Wrap, a new shock to the electric vehicle market. Tonight, what is signaling troubled times ahead? Also, ready to make another move on immigration. We have a preview tonight of the sweeping new policy the White House is expected to roll out tomorrow. President Biden is expected to announce a new immigration program tomorrow that would provide a path to citizenship for the spouses of U.S. citizens. Lawmakers say the program could affect tens of thousands of immigrants who have lived in the country for at least 10 years and are married to Americans. That would make it one of the largest immigration initiatives in recent decades. The program would offer spouses work permits, deportation protections, and a route for them to apply for green cards. Finally, tonight we head to Phoenix, where a growing number of Tesla cars and trucks have been sitting outside of a local movie theater just a few blocks away from a Tesla facility. Fox 10's Steve Nielsen spoke with an industry expert about what this could mean for the company and the EV industry.
Clay with EV Access says they rent out hundreds of electric vehicles to people who love them in Phoenix.
There's no better thing that could be potentially moving forward as far as of grabbing the way that the vehicle market's going to move than electric vehicles.
They have far more Teslas for rent here than anything else, and the demand matches it.
So Tesla, because they found the niche in the market so early, allows them to have just a better approach on the general product in general.
But while his rental business is performing, Hertz is selling off their Tesla fleet. Now, outside of a boarded-up movie theater in Scottsdale, nearly 250 Teslas, including some Cybertrucks, are parked. Most brand new, still wrapped in plastic. Industry analyst Carl Brower with iSeeCars.com says these overflow lots are signs of slow demand.
You see a lot full of brand new Teslas, and it's getting more and more full all the time. It's clear they are unable to find buyers for these cars.
Tesla didn't respond to questions about the lot of EVs. The industry as a whole has slowed in 2024. After layoffs last year, Lucid in Casa Grande told me in January no more layoffs were on the way.
Your employees here, so they feel good about their job security right now?
Yes, they do.
Not concerned about any layoffs going forward?
But things changed quickly. Last month, more layoffs. A spokesperson said there were approximately 60 salaried individuals in Arizona impacted by the reduction in force, and no production workers were affected. They stressed a newly completed expansion and work on their new SUV called Gravity. Brower said Tesla lost money for over a decade before turning a profit.
Now we've got Lucid and Rivian. They're much younger companies. Are they going to have a 10, 15-year runway to lose money before they're profitable? We'll see.
Was Fox 10's Steve Nielsen reporting tonight. Tesla did not respond to requests for comment.